Parents, what decision do you regret most because it cost you your relationship with your child? I have finally come to terms with the fact that I will probably never have a relationship with my son again. This all went down last year, but something showed up yesterday that reminded me just how bad I messed everything up. Before diving into this mess, let me give you some context. I've worked as a mechanic since I was 19, and by the time I turned 28, I had my own auto shop. After my first marriage ended, I got remarried a few years later. My second wife had a son from her previous relationship, and since his real dad had walked out on him, he started seeing me as his father figure from the time he was 4. I also had a son from my first marriage who mostly lived with his mom, but I used to see him quite a bit back then. My shop was on his way home from school, so he'd stop by sometimes just to chat or hang around while I worked on cars. Things were smooth between my current wife and my ex, no drama there. My son was always welcome to stay over or have dinner whenever he wanted, even though his home was with his mom. When I turned 17, my dad handed me the keys to a black Chevrolet Chevelle SS. I've taken care of that car ever since. It means the world to me. Almost everything on it is still original, and I've done all the repairs and maintenance myself. Being a mechanic, that was never a problem. The car was always parked out front or in my home garage. My son loved that car just as much as I did. He'd beg to go for rides, and he knew every little thing about it. He even had a toy version that looked exactly the same. So where did things start to fall apart? My ex-wife got married again 8 years back, and they ended up moving a few states away after her new husband landed a better job. From then on, my son and I mostly talked on the phone, and I only saw him maybe every few months for a weekend visit. Then the phone calls got fewer. He said school was getting intense, and he wanted to stay focused. Made sense, he was a teenager trying to stay on track. My stepson was about 10 at that time. When my son turned 16, he went off to a university that was also a few states away, and after that, we barely talked or saw each other. Around the same time, my shop hit some rough patches, and my wife got seriously ill with E. coli, which caused kidney problems. Life got overwhelming fast, but we managed to hold it together, and thankfully, she recovered. Now, let's fast forward to April 2019, my stepson was turning 16. He and my son always got along, so he invited him to the party. My son said he was busy but planned to visit a few days later. I hadn't seen him in nearly 4 years, so I was excited. And here's where I really screwed things up. My stepson had been doing great in school despite everything going on around him. He had the grades, the discipline, and he'd just gotten accepted into a pre-med program. My wife and I were proud of him, so I made a big decision. I gave him my old Chevelle as a birthday gift. The look on his face said it all, and his buddies were blown away too. That car still turns heads even now. What I did not see coming was how badly this would affect my relationship with my own son. I sent him a photo of my stepson next to the car at the party, thinking he'd be happy to see it. Instead, he shot back a message asking if it was some kind of joke. I was confused and asked what he meant. A few seconds later, he called, furious. He reminded me that I once promised him that very car when he was about 10, told him that if he worked hard and kept his grades up, it would be his one day. Then he called me a lousy father who didn't care about his real kid, and that set me off. We both said things we shouldn't have. After the call, my wife tried to get me to cool down and suggested I talk it through with him, saying it was probably a misunderstanding. But I was too worked up and let my anger talk. I told my son he didn't deserve the car and that if he ever got his act together, he could give me a call. I hung up, still fuming. My wife and I ended up arguing too because she took his side, and I didn't want to hear it. At that moment, I felt like I'd been slapped across the face after everything I'd done for him over the years. I tried reaching out a few days later, but he never picked up. I think he changed his number after that. I told myself I didn't care, but the truth is, I was just trying to bury the guilt. About 3 weeks later, my ex called me, absolutely furious. She told me that our son had just graduated from university, and I hadn't been invited. She had found it strange I wasn't there and asked him why. That's when he told her everything that had happened. He had planned to invite me when he came for the birthday visit. That hit me like a brick. I found out he had graduated as an automotive technician, top of his class. That was the moment I realized just how badly I had failed as a father. In those 4 years we were distant, I never even asked what he was studying. My ex broke down crying on the phone, telling me he had always wanted to be like me, to work in my shop, to take over once I retired. He just wanted to follow in my footsteps. And I had completely thrown that away in a single moment of anger. She told me he wanted no contact with me ever again and not to bother her either. It has been over a year now. My wife and I have had our share of arguments about it since. My stepson even gave the car back, hoping it might help mend things. I tried to find ways to reach out to my son for nearly a year. Last thing I heard was he landed a job at a big car company. I tried contacting them, but they would not share anything. Then yesterday, I received a package. No return address, no letter. But I knew it was from him. Inside was his old toy version of the Chevelle, a torn-up picture of the two of us sitting on the car, and a videotape. I watched it. He must have been around 7 years old in it. I was working on a car while he filmed me. Halfway through, I started crying. In the video, I told him something: if he kept his grades up, the shop and the car could be his one day. That memory was probably burned into his mind, and now it's burned into mine too.